7 tips to help you stay organized. Number 1, find a home for everything. Clutter is stuff without a home. So on this one, we want to focus on having a place to put stuff. When we buy it, we should already have in mind where we're going to store it and basically where it's going to go, in our life. Number 2, buying more storage containers typically just means that you're trying to conceal a bigger mess. Number 3, open space by getting rid of items not being used. Some people do the 1 month rule. If you haven't used it within a month, go ahead and donate it or sell it. Other people do the 6 month rule. Other people do a 1 year rule. Sometimes you can just look at things and know that you never use it, and you have to kind of try to figure out and justify why you even have it. Some things are sentimental in value, and those are harder to get rid of. But ultimately speaking, you don't want stuff to control your life. If you don't like what was gifted to you, you're not really obligated to keep it by any means. Number 4, minimize what you have stored in your bedroom. The more clutter, the more disorganized your bedroom, the more distractions that keep you from resting and from having a peaceful mind. Of course, you could also expand that to every room in your home. To declutter and to minimize is always typically a pretty good thing to do. But it's very important to at least start in your bedroom, or at least have your bedroom as a refuge from all the chaos and all the distractions that we typically throw in our living spaces. Number 5, identify a need before buying a new item, and get rid of an older item before getting the newer one. This will keep you from having a bunch of stuff accumulating in a space. Number 6, stay on task with a daily outlined goals and objectives list in a calendar organizer. It could be one of those pocket organizers. This will help you keep yourself on track. It'll hold yourself to what your plans are for that day, and even have weekly goals as well. Having things written down in a concrete form is a lot more motivating, and it gives you a lot more focus than things abstract that you keep just in your head. There's nothing wrong with thinking thoughts, of being organized and having a plan in your head, but writing it in an actual planner, writing it out in a calendar planner is going to really be that one more step to doing it, because you're already starting to do an action. That is the first action. So don't ever think to yourself that it's just not worth your time, because everything has a beginning, a starting point. And number 7 is to use closet organizers to maximize the full vertical space available. So many times I see my friends' closets, and they're just a mess. They typically have a place to hang clothes, like jackets or shirts or pants, and there may be a shelf above the hanging section of the closet. But there's typically 3 or 4 feet above that's just empty, dead space. It's like one big, gigantic shelf. And there's typically at least 2 or 3 feet below the hanging clothes. On the floor area, there's all this space, or things are just thrown there. So you can use a lot of this space if they're more organized. And for a lot of people, different types of shelving it can go a long way to actually use that space. Closets can vary, obviously, in different sizes and depths and widths, and so you have a lot of things that may have to be custom built, but a lot of times, just getting some 2x4s and finding the studs in your walls in your closet, and going ahead and attaching a few 2x4s on each side, each wall of the closet. You can start to build like a framework there to put shelving on. And there's a lot of closets you don't need to actually hang clothing in it, and you can just create the entire closet as a shelving unit. And for a lot of people, it's very efficient. It's a much more efficient way than having all this vertical dead space. Something that a lot of people struggle with is to try to have enough room or to declutter space, or once again, this video is about being more organized. It can go a long way to take spaces that are actually designed to store things and to really maximize it. There's definitely people that I know that have very limited storage because their home was designed with these very shallow and very few closets. And so for those, sometimes they have to go to the basement or into the attic, or they just devote an entire room just for storage. And for a lot of people, that's really inconvenient. It's not optimum. It's not ideal. And so hopefully these tips helpful in some way. These are some of the things that I use. I thought maybe I just brainstorm about it. And so I wrote them all down on a piece of paper, and I just wanted to share it with you. And thanks for your support.